Hey guys. Alright, I'm going to talk nice and calm because Bad Wolf is going to bed. But is there sound now? You should have sound. There should be sound now. No, I kept the music off because YouTube keeps hitting me for music. And it's the same thing all the time. So that's why I'm like, you know what? I bet it's I bet it's the opening song. I bet they keep hitting me for the opening song. Because I'm like, I haven't even played music. So, guys, this is crazy. I just learned about this now. Let me put something in my little camera. I don't have Zoom on. I got nothing on. This was like literally a last second live, but let me just add something there so it's not so blank. But I missed like everything tonight. I missed NewsNation special on Idaho 4. I was like, oh shit, I missed it. I don't know. Let me just put a little picture up of something. I look like death. Otherwise, I'd be on camera. But I've been doing candles all day. Image. Now, hold on. Let me just add a little picture. Oh, I tagged her. See, I heard the audio this morning, and I was like, wow, that is pretty intense. Hold on. Let me find one of me. Here we go. I like this one. I'm going to use this. Just for you, Betty. Okay. That's what I'm going to use. So I was talking to some Patreons. We were on the phone, and at the end of the conversation, one of them said, hey, have you heard this? And I said, no, but I haven't really been on YouTube all day. So no, I didn't. So then she played it for me, and I was like, no way. There's no way this is fake. Like, I heard it myself. Yeah, it's fucking fake, guys. I'm going to show you all the proof. At first, I was like, yeah, maybe this is right. Maybe it's not right. And then I saw the proof. This is fake as fuck. There's no way that she can, and notice something. Now, I don't watch a lot of channels, but notice Dolly played it. Betty played it. Olivia played it. They all played it. Or I think Olivia played it. I don't know. But I know Dolly played it because it's in his title. And I cannot even comprehend that they would pull something like this and more creators are not talking about it. Because I would think that every creator out there, from Ickmel to all of them, would be discussing it. But I guess not. I don't know if they actually played it. I know Grizzly on Twitter had some questions about the stuff about Brian's past or whatever. Like, is that really him? And we don't know. And she was questioning it, like, what are you guys' thoughts? I don't know if it's him or not. I don't think anybody does. We're assuming. Like, he was talking about white snow or something, or vision snow. I don't know. But it was from like 2011, so we have no idea if it's true or not. Oh, Dolly said he couldn't say who his source of the video was. Yeah, his source of the video is Olivia, is my guess. Simply because Olivia is the one that knows how to do all this stuff. They don't know how to do this stuff. I mean, maybe Dolly does, but Betty doesn't. So yeah, it's late. So let's get right into the fakeness of this fucking audio from these biggest pieces of shit I've ever seen. Like, first, the water bottle wasn't bad enough. Then they faked something else, and now they're faking a leaked audio. Are you that hard up for views, Betty? Like, for real? Are you really this hard up? And the reason why people believed it films is because she was there. So maybe she did convince a neighbor to, get a, to give her audio or something. I didn't question it because she was there. So It wasn't BHB. The person who posted it came out and said who they were and what it is. I saw it. Yes. But it is so messed up that they did this. I'm blown away by it. So Iqmel did know it was fake. All right. So let me show you the first video I saw on it. This channel only has like 338 views. I mean, 481 subscribers. Check it out. So she cleaned up the audio. Hold on.
And one cleaned up audio.
All right. I'm going to start it from here. You're right. That's what it was. I couldn't think of it. The ghost shenanigans. You are correct. So every single case she touches, she lies about something major just for clout. Thank you for that. I totally forgot. I couldn't remember what it was, Connie. Thank you.
What do you think it says? Do you think it's fake? Or do
No, BJ, not everyone played it and said it was real. You didn't hear it on my channel. She took that audio from somebody else that had nothing to do the with the case and made it about the case. Now you sit there and think, well, how do I know this? Well, someone got proof. That's how. Hold on. Brian's sister was not recording at this scene. That is the dumbest thing I ever heard. There's a dog barking in that, Janelle. Hold on one second. I'm going to go to video number 2. Hold on. Hold on one second. I'm going to go to video number 2. All right. Check this shit out.
Good format and has degraded the pictures in rushing them into her slideshow. But if you think, now you tell me, why would anybody not talk, not speak, no commentary, just some little sad music and a bunch of pictures of these the victims, right? Guys, that they either knew platform to generate Patreon membership and Cash App donos. So far, I've seen Bullhorn Betty, Zav Girl both playing this audio, utilizing kids during their demise for clicks and views is vile and shouldn't be allowed on YouTube. Whether the audio is real or not, almost irrelevant, although it's possibly real. The LE did say they had audio. Now, is it real? Let's take a look at a couple things so that you can make up your mind on how you feel about whether it's real or not. After I read this to you, I will describe, I'll give you some thoughts. I'll give you some points to think about. And then we'll go and watch a video. So, the supposed leaked audio from the neighbor's outdoor cam is not related to the King Road house in Moscow. This is the original owner of the audio. She posted this on her Facebook on December 30th. She reached out and wanted people to know that her recording is not related.
All right, let me just say this again. The reason why I thought that maybe it was legit is because she just came from out there. So it wouldn't surprise me if she, like, you know, wanted to hook up with the neighbors or go to the neighbors and maybe said, hey, you got a copy of it. Like, I didn't put too much into it, but I thought it was definitely possible rather than leaked audio if she had never gone out there. So that's why I thought maybe it is real. I could see her convincing someone to give her a copy. So that's why I didn't really question it that much. But again, I haven't listened to anything else all day. But that was just like, I don't know, maybe it is real. Then I heard this. I was like, oh, hell no.
She does not reside anywhere near Moscow, and this audio was not taken the night of the issue. This is confirmed. It is the audio of a DV situation from her neighbors. She shared the audio clip as a way to show an example of how much noise an outdoor security cam could pick up from your neighbor's home. She's not wanting her audio to be used to help convince people that it's related to Idaho. She was using it as an example of not knowing that someone would try to use it in this kind of nefarious way. So not only do we have the original post from December 30th, not only do we have the fact that this audio has been out there since then, it's not.
Most creators played this video. BHB was not the one who said she got it from the person who made it first one. I saw hours earlier, it was on TikTok. Jeanette, nobody is lying. And you might, I understand you're a Betty follower because you have no idea how to fucking listen. because nobody said that the neighbor gave it to her. That's not what I said. So go back to Betty and Dolly, where you don't really have to listen to anything. You could just buy into their bullshit. Nobody's lying. Bye-bye, Jeanette. Have a good day. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. But next time you want to come in here, make sure you listen to what I say and not what you want to hear. Thanks.
Not even near Idaho. Not only do we have an exact match from the audio that Bullhorn Betty, Molly Golightly, Dolly, and others were playing, claiming, literally without any fact checking. How long did it take us to debunk this? It literally took us less than a day to debunk this audio. They rushed the minute they had this in their hands, as they want you to think, and decided that they were going to put it an hour and 40 minutes into a live stream. And while they were playing it, pause it every second. Now, personally, I believe that they either knew that it was fake from the start, and they're just literally lying to everybody about this, or I believe they themselves faked this on purpose. I believe they went out seeking fake audio and then put this up as their choice, or they had found this and knowing it was fake, went ahead and pushed it. There's just too much there. There's too many questions. There wasn't any type of confirmation, nothing else there. But the thing that should get you the worst is the clip I just played of Molly trying to lock this behind her Patreon and getting a whole bunch of people to rush over, baiting the fake clip, knowing Molly had to have known. If Molly would have done a simple search, she could have known that the audio was fake. And you're going to tell me that you don't think that Mrs. I care about the victims and I get mad at the family and I do all this, hadn't had a single thought process to try and respect the victims and make sure that the audio that she was posting was real or not, just by doing a basic search? In fact, it was so easy to find this that people on YouTube have already started to call out people for using this audio. So let's now go to Couch Clips, who has a minute and 30 seconds here presentation, and I believe they're going to show you the same thing that I just showed you, but you know, let's just take a look. Couch Clips, make sure you support them for uploading this. Audio is fake. It's got nothing to do with Idaho. Here's the proof. Stop hurting people. They can't stop because it's the only thing that they can do to make money. They can't get a real job. Their backgrounds, their violent tendencies, their behavior, their disgustingness stops them from getting any kind of job. And even if they could get a job, they don't keep it for that long. Now, if they go to YouTube and they exploit these kind of things, they can actually make money. If they were to try to do regular content, of course, they wouldn't get any views. Take a listen. Okay, so they're going to actually play the audio. I want to skip that. So they play the audio. They play the audio from December 30th of 22, according to this post. According to the post, of course. They prove it all, though. They show the thing I just showed you. They show the publication that I just showed you. And there you go. So they went even further to show that this post isn't the only thing out there to show that the audio is fake. Even further, they have the original post from 12/30 of 2022. They played the audio to match it up so that you could hear it. So there you go. Over, done, door shut.
No, this guy hates all of them. He's like rock something. I'll get you the link. But he gets really repetitive because all he does is talk about Molly and the tragedy pimps, and why he's all up in this chick drama, I don't know. But he's very thorough. I mean, if you're into those kind of channels, he's extremely thorough in his drama. But all he does is go after them.
Door slammed. It's done. Betty, there is no way Betty is any kind of investigator whatsoever. There is no way that Molly is any kind of investigator. There is.
Oh, that's his name, Uni Rock? I thought it was Rock something. But either way, I mean, if you want to hear the Molly drama every day, he's a good one to listen to because he's very thorough about it. I just don't care that much to hear about all the drama every day.
There's no way that these people should be able to keep doing what they're doing. And I do believe that Menace is right for tagging Team YouTube. If you want to help him, you could go to my Twitter at UniRock TV and
Rock a lot. Thank you. Pamela, thank you. That's who I was thinking of. I knew it was Rock something. I know Unirock seemed wrong. Rock a lot is the channel. Thank you.
go down and tag Team YouTube with them, because unless people help people tag Team YouTube, it's almost impossible to get a hold of them, or it takes a long time when you finally do. Either way, this is the most exploitative thing I've seen on the platform that YouTube just won't act on, that they just takes forever for them to step in on. But I do think that we all know with YouTube's new rule changes, they don't want us to curse at all without, excuse me, being fully demonetized. They don't even want us cursing. They used to let us curse after the 30-second mark. We had to watch what we said for the first 30 seconds to try to appease the advertisers. So if an ad plays, there's not stuff said right at the beginning. They don't even want us cursing through the whole video now. So we can't curse, but you can literally lie. You can post fake audio. The audio shouldn't have been posted in the first place. The audio should have been confirmed. I could go on and on and on and on and on and just complain at you, so I won't. But the point is, if any of you out there think that Molly and Betty did not know what they were doing, you can literally take their own criticisms of other people and know that they do understand that they need to fact check this stuff. They do understand how easy it is to fake this kind of thing. They've said it in the past. They've called out other people for it. Now they themselves, in a desperate bid for money, as I showed you, when Molly gets some patrons coming in, she's elated because, by her own admission, she's been losing lots of patrons and members, of course. Though, if you think that's all I got for you today, you're crazy. And since we're live, we might as well look at a few other things before we get out of here. And I got some real... that she was going, rushing them into her... but wanted to thank you for staying on this. Hey, J-Dub, no problem. Without you guys here with me, without everybody, working together on this, we got nothing. So thank you as much, buddy. Appreciate you, and hope you have a good day at work. So let's go in to what Molly had to say, because she's sorry for what she said about Brian's mother, but it's not because of what I said. It's not because of you criticizing.
His channel is Rockalot. Rockalot.
Molly. She's sorry because her own audience was very triggered over this. They were very triggered because they have kids and grandkids. And what Molly was saying about Brian just happened to apply to those kids. Now, it's no secret that kids do dumb things. Kids can go out and they get in fights. They decide to try and break in to do crazy things. Let me just play it for you. Touch your heart. The cold, dead, ice cold heart in your chest. These pictures that you upload, if they touched your heart, why did you upload them like this? You could have shared them on social media or your community tab without monetizing them. And what about the audio, Molly? What about you putting the fake audio on Patreon for $50 for people to hear it? It's fake. Are you going to go to your channel? Is Betty going to go to her channel and admit that it's fake, that you should have done? Are you going to take responsibility? Are you going to admit where you messed up and what you should do differently in the future? Neither of you are going to. In fact, I don't even think these two are going to tell their audience that the audio is fake.
Then he just goes and just rubs it in a little more. And he's like, I know something, Marissa. And I'm like, what, Justin? And he's like,
just wait. Just wait. This gets really good.
Like, his parents
Really
really
good.
Raised, he was, on his way to being a real serial,
Well, yeah, he is. He is one, isn't he? Do you have to do different? It's multiple people. It's
Brian is not a serial killer. He's a mass murderer. He's not a serial killer. He never killed before. We don't know if he would ever kill again. Maybe it just would take one and that's all he was going to do. We don't know, but it doesn't matter. He's not a serial killer. I'm so frustrated when I hear people say he's a serial killer. No, he's not.
It's not. I don't know if in order to be considered a serial, you have to do more than one incident. I don't know. But either way, the point is, you are blaming people before we have any information, and it could be completely wrong. The point is, you're making assumptions, and your assumptions are disrespectful. Your assumptions are the thing that is disrespectful to the story. The way that you monetize the story flippantly, without checking, without putting in work, without giving it time, without giving it thought, is the criticism.
And I'm like,
no, he doesn't technically qualify due to his background, but we don't really know his whole background. That's all I'm saying.
I know. So, listen, he's already arrested.
It's a mass, Mike. It's not serial, so he's going to be considered mass, right? Yeah, there has to be a cooldown period. I just forget what it is. It's been so long since I studied it, but okay. So Mike says he's going to be considered mass. Okay.
And I get that, but that's just like, that's not enough for me. It's not enough for me because you look at these pictures of these young people, you know what I'm saying? These young, innocent, beautiful.
You know, it always bothers me. Why do you feel such passionate desire for justice when it comes to this, but you feel no justice for the fraud raisers you run, no justice for the doxings, which could literally, you sharing people's addresses and full names and raging people out towards people could lead to this kind of thing happening to somebody. But you just think because you get lucky and it doesn't happen that it's just okay. And I get it. These issues are really, really big. And some would say that her support of Letitia, putting that fraud in front of everybody, is not comparable. But the point is her desire for justice, her desire for the right thing to happen only applies when she...
No, we don't know. Hey, Joseph, we don't know if he's killed before, but as sloppy as he was, I highly doubt he ever killed before. He was way too sloppy. You don't do like perfect kills and then become sloppy. That's why I don't believe it was his first. I mean, that's why I believe it was his first. Would it have been his last? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to get it out of his system once. I don't know.
She can make money is what I'm saying. If she could make money not caring about justice, like in those situations I named, she won't care. So that's why I'm trying to say it's fake.
Beautiful kids, and then you hear these. Let me tell you something. We haven't heard nothing yet. We don't know nothing. There's so much more evidence that we haven't even heard, and that's going to come out way later. And
yeah, it's almost like you watched my stream or something, because you're taking a lot of the points that I've made already.
We've all said that, though. That's it. Rock a lot, no offense. We've all said it.
And dishing them out.
There's going to be more stuff.
This is exactly what I warned about against you and Betty yesterday. There is so much coming in the future. And it's going to be one of these cases. It's going to be one of those kind of things that people look back on.
Molly, do you know this guy? Do you know him?
People study, that people wonder about. And we have...
He seems to think you talk about him a lot. I've never heard you even mention him.
Haven't even gotten into the beginning yet. We are in the pre-stage of this whole thing. They just brought the guy in. We don't even know if he's going to admit it. We don't know if he's going to give details. We don't know if he's going to break down and just try to make a deal and give them everything. We have no idea if he's going to clam up.
I honestly, though, Sissy, I don't care who played it. I 100%, without a doubt, believe that Betty created it. And if she didn't create it, she definitely wanted people to think that it was hers and she was wonderful and she got all this fucking information. Yeah, he does obsess over you. I said that before. But the reason why I put him on is that leaked fake audio, that audio. Fake as fuck. But he goes through you every day. That's why I can't really listen to him. It's total fake news, exactly. The question is, did Betty tell all of you guys that it was fake? That's the question. Because that's some sick shit. We will nothing more that is factual due to the gag. That's true too. But like I said, I really thought because Betty was there, it's very possible that she went to the neighbor and convinced them to give her audio. That would not surprise me. So that's why I didn't really look at it as, oh, it must be fake. Because why wouldn't she? I mean, I could see Betty convincing someone to give her audio. So I just thought it was real. Never thought it was totally fake until I watched a couple of videos and then I saw the proof. Yeah, this is fake as fuck. So if you're coming in late, let me rewind. That leaked audio is nothing more than someone that is not connected until the absolute end. It had nothing to do with Moscow. It had nothing to do with the Idaho 4 at all whatsoever. But her putting that audio out while also knowing the parents watch her, I agree with that too. I totally agree with you. You couldn't read it because you couldn't understand anything. Yeah, you can. It was on TikTok of exactly where it came from. I'll show you. Hold on. Nothing that anyone can say will make me believe that Betty did not fake that. Now, who knew about it? I don't know. That I have no idea.
You're watching.
All right. For those of you that came in late, here we go.
That's just now war right. That's just now war right.
So the whole thing is the supposedly leaked audio from the neighbor's outdoor security cam is not related to the crime at the King Road house in Moscow. This is the original owner of that audio. She posted this on her Facebook page on December 30th. She reached out and wanted people to know that a recording is not related to the crime. She does not reside anywhere near Moscow. And this audio was not taken the night of the murder. This is confirmed. It is audio of domestic violence situation from her something neighbors. She shared the audio clip as a way to show an example of how much noise an outdoor security camera can pick up from your neighbor's house. She is not wanting her audio to be used to help to convince people that it's related to the Idaho 4 crime. She was using it as an example. She was not knowing that someone would try to convince people that it's related to the Idaho 4 crime. She was using, she was using it as an example, not knowing that someone tried to use it in a nefarious way. But Betty does everything for nefarious reasons. So that doesn't surprise me at all. Now, like I said earlier, I can't say that anybody else got attention for it. I can't say that it was from, that everybody knew about it. That guy has Molly tagged in it. As you notice, my headline of the video doesn't say Betty and Molly, because Betty wouldn't bring anybody else into this except maybe Olivia, who probably did it for her. But that's what I'm saying, Jerry. But that guy's video has Molly and Betty doing this together. And I didn't believe that. That's why I didn't put Molly in my title, because I don't think Molly has anything to do with it. But I do think Betty does. And I think Betty was the first one to even play the clip. That is exactly what was told to us. It was an example of how much sound it picked up. Yeah, it's absolutely mind-blowing. Olivia probably kicking back and laughing at Bullhorn. Did she play it? Did Olivia play it? Because let me tell you guys something. Olivia is not fucking innocent. People want to make it out like she's innocent. She is not innocent. She is as shady as Dolly is. She's as shady as fucking Betty is. Her and Betty are besties. Trust me, she is just as fucking shady, if not worse. Just like the water bottle in Florida, just like the ghost in Quentin Simon's house, just like that. She's full of shit. Not everyone played at Morgs. I didn't play it. Olivia's a smiling assassin, exactly. But everyone thinks like, oh, well, why does Olivia hang out? Olivia is just as disgusting as Betty. Plain and simple.
Just hit me with a super chat. What was that? You didn't have to do that. You's a big dog supporter and you prove that. There's plenty other ways to help. Subscribe to chat.
Welcome. I don't know why that plays the super chat song when it's only a subscriber and not a super chat. I don't know why. But meanwhile, it doesn't even play it on a super chat. It's so weird. Yeah, but sweet crazy, you have to understand, whether you hate Molly or not, I know Molly well enough. Molly doesn't do shit like this. She doesn't have the time. She doesn't care enough. And if she gets something, she got it from someone else. She's not, what's the word I'm looking for? She's not sitting there manipulating video or searching video to make it hers. She doesn't do that. Plain and simple. That's why I didn't put her in there. I know Molly and Betty didn't hatch this together. This is Betty. Whoever Betty did it with, I don't know. But this is Betty. This is shady ass Betty. It's what she does. It's what she's always done. She's been doing this forever. They need to fact check regardless who got it. It was Betty who got it. And that's another thing. Aren't they so big on YouTube? I'm sorry, on TikTok? Aren't they so huge on TikTok? And they always talk about the millions of subscribers that she gets. Yeah, Yaron, that's funny. the millions of subscribers that she gets and how she has millions of people watching her, and yet you can't go to TikTok and fucking see that this is fake? Yeah, okay. Picture that one. I posted it to 4chan and Reddit anonymous. We'll
They
go
just hit me with a super chat. Who was that? You didn't have to do that. You's a big dog supporter and you prove that. There's plenty other ways to help. Subscribe, view, chat. But
welcome. It popped up on my feed once, twice. You didn't play it because you have solid morals. A great yeah, because you got to understand something, and I'm not trying to be an asshole. I do not really trust anything Betty puts out, like nothing. And yeah, there's nothing about that Betty puts out that I think is credible. But I mean, I did believe it this morning. I'm not going to lie. It took a loss of the best way to get a YouTuber's attention is by tagging them on Twitter. Maybe it's time to give it a try. Old BHB, some of that attention she chases. Oh, meanwhile, I've tried that too, Haley. It doesn't work. I mean, it worked once. Where have you been? I took the weekend off. I wasn't even going to go live tonight. They all fell for it. Wait, I'm not really not. Heels has a funny as fuck video about the exact thing. My problem with Heels, Bridget, and my problem with a lot of them, they've overplayed the tragedy pimp stuff, and they've overplayed this one's so bad and that one's so bad. Like it's like overplayed already. Like, move on. When something big comes up, great. Like, this to me is fucking big, but I'm so over all the clip channels because I'm tired of hearing all their names already. That would be funny, Rhonda. Nothing about video or sound would be fake. That gag order is tight. Yeah, but again, Janelle, it's possible that I really thought Betty would work her way. It only works on JB. I really thought Betty would work her way in to the neighbor and somehow convince the neighbor to give her a copy of the audio. I can see Betty doing that. I really can. That's why I didn't question it too much. Because I honestly really thought it's possible. I mean, if it was, let's say, Ichtmel that released it, would anyone question it? No. Nobody would have questioned it if Ichtmel did it or somebody else. They're only making them bigger by calling out their bullshit. I agree. And Betty's mom was on today. And this is like the first time I even listened to Betty for as long as I could, which was about 30 minutes. Her mom was on. Her mom's as bad as she is. No, now she lead with love. Now she thinks she's fucking what's her name? She thinks that she is Ashley Banfield. I was listening to her today. I'm like, could you take on Ashley Banfield's personality even more? Because yeah, you're acting like her personality. I got nothing for you. Nothing at all. Edited a video with closed caption typed in the audio video. You think she received it that way? No, I think she found it. I don't think she received it from anyone. I think she found it. She found it on TikTok. I think they purposely went looking for someone to an audio that would fit, just like they did the water bottle, just like they did the ghost. Yeah, Betty thinks she's Nancy Grace. I agree. That's true. Do you guys want to watch the special that was on tonight? I did not see it. I totally forgot it was even on. What can you say they're media? They're not fucking media. They're a joke. Absolute joke. And if you don't know if something is real, then don't play it. Hey, welcome, Krista. That's my sister-in-law's name is Krista. But you can't swear or cuss in her chat. Why, she did. She cursed in her chat. Yeah, I didn't see it either. I've totally forgot it was on. She said the other day, we're so happy we got the guy. Well, we think we got the guy. There's no, I'm going to say it again. As much as Brian looks like the guilty party, and pretty sure Brian is the guilty party, there's still no proof. So people need to back up with, it's definitely him. We don't know it's him. We truly do not know. We believe it's him, but innocent until proven guilty. Fact. Oh, or mods block you if you cuss. Why? She cusses. I don't even like cuss. I like curse. Tell him Banfield you forgot she was on. No, Brian N did a whole hour special, and I totally forgot. All right, let me find it. Mick Taylor, that's good. I like that. Oh. We don't know what proof they have. Sweet Crazy, yes, I can say that he is innocent until proven guilty. Plain and simple. There's no debate about that. Someone is innocent until proven guilty. Plain and simple. I am 100% correct about that. NewsNation. Damn, it was on at 12. I'm like way late. All right. That's a no. Oh. That's my chair, by the way. I'm in a leather chair, so nobody thinks I'm making noise. Uh-oh. Where can I find it? Why is it only showing from a month ago? Let me try Twitter. All right. We got spaces.
And there's no aspect of this job that I haven't done.
That's Cuomo. Come on, I can't find it? It's not showing me, did Tyler run it by any chance? Because I can stream it from him. Like Brian did a 30-minute after. No, I have NewsNation Kells, but it's not allowing me to find the earlier broadcast. That's what I'm saying. Like, I have NewsNation, but it won't let me play the earlier broadcast. What's this? Yeah, it won't let you play it. No, but it was on Sunday. It was on tonight. I know, right? You have to pay extra. All right, well, you guys be posting on YouTube after. Now I'm mad. Lex who? "48 Hours" did a show? I think that's old. Doesn't he do church streams on Friday? Not Sunday? Thank you, Joseph. See, watch. Now the song won't play. It makes no sense. But it plays for subscribers. I don't get it. All right. Okay. So I can't take her serious either. Her highlighted videos says bryankohberger taunts guards and professor speaks out. Okay, that was already proven fake. All right, here we go. She's going through old stuff. She's going through Reddit posts. This from tonight? Yeah, 6 hours ago. Yeah, she's going through a lot of old stuff. Stuff from like a couple of days ago. All right. I think this is where it starts.
You understand?
Yes.
And the chilling revelation that a criminology student may just be one of the most sought-after criminals.
I looked at the picture and I was like, I couldn't believe who it was. It was bryankohberger.
But this mystery is just starting to unravel.
I said early on that we're not going to let any stone go unturned, and I meant that.
And the dots are just starting to connect.
He was always showing up a little late.
And he told me he's fascinating on what he's doing and stuff like that.
Tonight, what led investigators across the country to bryankohberger's front door, and what could bring the families of Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan one step closer to a conviction.
There's going to be somebody there looking him in the face and letting him know that this isn't going away anytime soon.
A NewsNation special report, Idaho murder mystery.
This is just the beginning.
Starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Brian Entin, live from outside the jail in Moscow, Idaho, for this NewsNation special report. For more than a month now, I have been here as this town and really the world was trying to make sense of what happened inside the home where 4 college students were brutally murdered. At the time, we did not know a lot. Some worried that this case would never be solved. But this past week, so much has happened. A suspect charged, and with that, an arrest document that laid out how police connected bryankohberger to this crime. Tonight, we are taking you through these major developments step by step, the facts of the case and what we still don't know. We're going to dive into the forensics, the DNA, the cell phone data, and how this could all lead to a conviction. And we are going to remain centered on the victims throughout. Kaylee Gonzalez.
John, I never said there was no proof that he did it. I said there's no proof that he killed before. Quite the opposite. He was so sloppy that odds are he didn't. This was his first kill.
Maddie Mogan, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle. Because at the end of the day, really, it is all about them, their families, their grief, and justice. I'm going to be joined by Kaylee's sister, Olivia. She is speaking out for the first time since the arrest was made, and we thank her very much for joining us tonight. But first, so many new details from a single document, changing almost everything we thought we knew about what happened on November 13th.
It seems likely that maybe they were sleeping.
That was the narrative about the 4 college students killed in the King Road home that we heard for weeks. But the new arrest affidavit paints a very different story. A night that had everyone in their rooms or asleep much later, at 4 a.m., except for Xana, who ordered food on DoorDash. After that, a surviving roommate notes a series of sounds that woke her up. What she thought was Kaylee playing with her dog. The words, "There's someone here," crying from Xana's room, and a male voice saying something like, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." And then the most shocking of them all. According to the affidavit, the surviving roommate opens the door and sees what appears to be the killer, clad in black clothing with a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose, walking towards her. She describes him as not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows, and stood in a frozen shock phase as he walked past her and back out the sliding glass door. She then locked herself in her room. 911 was not called until 11:58 that morning.
But still this interesting question of she didn't call the police. But it raises a question as what was happening in that period of time?
Obviously, you'd like to call right away. So you can have an immediate response and get on it. But unfortunately, we don't live in an ideal world.
Okay, I'm going to say this one more time, loud and clear. We do not know if the police are lying. We do not know definitively that she did not call at 6 in the morning. The police are going to not tell us that she called while he was still on the street. The affidavit, I don't remember if the affidavit said what time she called, but that's also why they won't let us know who called or release the call. We don't know.
Investigators at the scene found 2 traces of a possible suspect, a shoe print just outside the door of the surviving roommate's bedroom, and a knife sheath
that had K-Bar and USMC on it. A single source of male DNA was also found on the button snap.
A very subtle finding, if you will, on the sheet to find his connection there, find the DNA, and I think that's the money.
As investigators scoured the neighborhood for...
No, Rhonda, the police told us that, but they also lied about other facts because A, we don't know who called, B, we don't know what is going on with the roommates, but while there's a killer on the loose, they're not going to tell that the roommates called immediately and identified him because he was out on the street. He could have gone back and found them and killed them again. Who knows? But we don't know if she really called at 12. We're going by what the cops say, but we don't know if it's true. Because if it's true, why not release the call? Why not give all the information? Hey, Patricia.
For cameras includes a car stuck out, the white Hyundai Elantra. It's the same car investigators asked for information about over and over again, insisting they wanted to speak to the occupants inside.
Do you believe that the killer was in that car?
We think that they were in the immediate area of the house of the residents.
What we didn't know at the time was investigators knew it was Bryan Kohberger's car by November 29th.
He was under surveillance, I think, from the time that they realized that this is going to be where the evidence is leading them to.
On December 23rd, they got a search warrant for his cell phone records.
The data that is generated by a cell phone is quite alarming.
Those records put Kohberger near the crime scene at least 12 times before the murders. It's also in the area in the early morning hours of the crime and right after. Investigators believe the phone may have been turned off or in airplane mode in between. We believe that he fled the scene according to the probable cause affidavit. They described the route that they believe he took based on surveillance video and just a knowledge of the area. This is the house where the murders happened. We believe he came out the back door and then left in this direction. You can see on this map, police say Kohberger went way out of the way to get back to his home in Pullman, going down a country road and making it to his apartment around 5:30 a.m. 4.5 hours later, Kohberger's phone is near the Moscow house again from 9:12 to 9:21 a.m. and back home in Pullman by about 9:32. Later that day, there is another 3-hour window where the phone was out of service again. Investigators say that is consistent with the same location as the phone after the murders, perhaps retracing his steps one last time. And between November 29th and November 23rd, authorities surveilled Kohberger's car using license plate readers and cameras. And they got even more information during 2 traffic stops in Indiana on December 15th, when Kohberger and his father were pulled over for minor infractions.
Where are you headed? Well, we're coming from WSU.
When investigators confirmed Kohberger's car was in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, things escalated. On December 27th, agents recovered trash from the Kohberger family home and sent it to the Idaho State Crime Lab for testing. It came back as a profile matching the DNA of Kohberger's biological father, a match for the DNA left on the knife sheath.
They have his DNA at the crime scene, they have his car in and around the crime scene, they have his phone not active around the crime scene. So all of those things work to put him there, but the essential question really is why?
I want to bring in Kaylee's sister now, Olivia. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Olivia. You know, I remember from when we first started communicating, when all of this began, you told me that you believed that this was going to be a stranger who came into the house. And according to the police, you know, you were right the way that all of this played out. But what did you think when you first learned that Bryan Kohberger was the suspect?
I think we always presume, you know, innocence. I don't think it really hit me until the affidavit was released and I was able to kind of read that and process that. And then you not only have a name and a face, but, you know, the beginnings of a case against him.
You have been working so hard behind the scenes, and I don't think a lot of people realize that, because in many ways your dad has sort of been the face of the family. But since...
What the fuck is Crime Sleuthin talking about? He tried to deflect with Thai food twice, and his dad was the one who blabbed so much Brian gave him major side-eye. What the fuck is she even babbling about?
the beginning, you've been digging into this and trying to find leads and sending things to the police. And you told me that, you know, you didn't feel like you would be able to really grieve until there was an arrest made. Do you feel like now you're able to do that?
I think my family as well as myself are starting to get there. And it's kind of an odd time to do that, being that we still have such a long road ahead of us. But the relief that we all felt having a suspect in custody was, it was like, I can't even describe it. Like the weight of the world was lifted from our shoulders.
The court process now, though, I mean, that's, you know, your dad has told me that can be overwhelming to think about, the fact that you guys are going to have to be in court. Do you plan to be at the hearings?
Yeah, every single one.
One thing back to the affidavit that I think a lot of people were surprised by was the fact that one of their roommates was awake when the killer walked by, and that the 911 call wasn't made until hours and hours later. Do you know any more about why that might be?
I don't have any other information for that. I do know Dylan is really young, and she was probably really, really scared. And until we have any more information, I think everyone should stop passing judgments, because you don't know what you would do in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's people online, obviously, it's totally inappropriate at this point. And you're right, no one knows how they would handle a situation like that or what was really happening. I mean, we only know what's in the probable cause so far. Is there anything you've learned that connects Kohberger to any of the victims here? Last I talked to your dad, he said the family was looking for connections, but there wasn't anything really apparent at this point.
Yeah, I think we're still going to keep looking. I've had a lot of people reach out with, you know, Instagram posts or even Spotify, or lots of connections that they've been able to find. And those are super valuable. All of those go over to, you know, the Moscow Police Department, as well as the Idaho State Police and the FBI, because nothing is insignificant at this point, and everything is being looked through.
There's this feeling that many have shared that perhaps Kohberger was watching the interviews, was in the Facebook groups, was on Twitter. Do you get a sense that that might be the case, that he was almost watching all of this as it played out?
I do. A lot of that comes from the fact that he had visited the home so many times before, late at night, early hours. He's presented this pattern of behavior. He went back to the home the morning of, before police had been called, I think to see if his circus, so to say, had started to unfold. And I think that he would not have been able to refrain from engaging with the online communities, the theories, the conspiracies, and everything in between.
How did you first find out, Olivia, that there was an arrest?
My mom actually told me. I had been staying at her house. Me and my husband were upstairs, and she came up the stairs. It was probably around 11 o'clock at night, the day before the arrest had been made. At the time, we didn't know what state, and we didn't even have a name. We just knew that a suspect was in custody.
And what was your reaction when you were able to read through? I think I was texting you. I was in line in court trying to read the affidavit on my phone. What was your reaction when you were first able to read through all of it?
Yeah, to be honest, I think that that's been the hardest part of this, is to sit back and look at the totality of it. When my sister was FaceTiming me about a new egg bites recipe, he was planning his next visit to the home. And that's really difficult. It's really difficult not to wish that you had done more, wish that you had known more. But it's just the first step. A lot more evidence will come out. And I'm confident that Moscow Police Department, Idaho State Police, and the FBI have the right person. And I thank them from the very bottom of my heart.
Yeah, I had never really thought about it that way. When you go through the timeline and the affidavit and see all the dates of when the cell phones pinged, you can actually go back. And I know you talk to your sister every day. You can actually go back and think of your conversations from those specific times.
Yeah, the August 21st date, I can go back and remember the conversation that I had with Kaylee that day, and how normal everything was, and the fact that we had no idea, she had no idea, I had no idea that true evil was genuinely watching them.
So this is certainly something that your family never envisioned that you would be going through. But I think what's so amazing about you guys is you're already trying to turn this tragedy into good in some way. Can you talk a little bit about, I know you're in the early stages of perhaps setting up a foundation to remember Kaylee, but tell me about your family's plans going in that direction.
Yeah, so from the beginning, we've definitely wanted to set up something that's Kaylee and Maddie's legacy going forward. But for, up until there was an arrest made, we weren't really sure what that meant, what exactly we were standing for and standing against. And now that we are starting to be able to put some of those pieces together, we're really, I guess, excited. I don't know if that's the right word, to be able to set up a foundation or a nonprofit or something in the girls' honor in some way, to be able to help other families like us the best way that we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll be looking forward to that, and we'll of course want to share that information. And I know people want to know how they can help. Olivia, I don't think people realize, you've got kids, you're pregnant, you have in many ways been the backbone for your family behind the scenes. You've been very, very strong, and we really appreciate you taking the time to come on tonight.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks for coming on. Okay. We're going to be sharing more ways about how you can actually help keep the memories of Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, and Xana alive. That's going to be coming up later in the show. We are live tonight, this entire hour, from Moscow, Idaho.
All right, so we'll chit chat while it's a commercial. Is it a commercial?
What?
Yeah, it is. Now they're checking out Brian Enton. All right, let me say something about, I know that this whole community, I don't really want to call it a community, but the whole TC community it's like 50-50. Half the people are saying that she should have, they don't understand why she didn't call. The other half is saying, leave her alone, she's a victim too. Let me shed some light in this in its totality. Okay. Yes, she's a victim, but it's not only why didn't she call the police? She never even called to see her friends, her roommates. That's why everybody is so confused and so like, how is that even possible? How do you not even check on your roommates if you hear screaming? If you hear, drive safe, Yaron, if you hear screaming, the first thing you're going to do is let me call and check on my roommates. Let me call and see what's going on, what all the noise is. That is what a normal person would do, even before she saw the killer. If you hear screaming coming from upstairs, why didn't you call her? Before she even found out a killer was there, Rhonda, she never checked on her roommates. It doesn't make sense. That's where everybody is so confused. Now, again, I don't know if she called the cops or not. Again, the cops could have been called, but they're protecting her because he was still on the loose. And that's why they haven't done anything with the 911 call. So there is a good chance that she did call 911 and they came earlier. People are wondering about him going back there in the morning. A lot of people seem to think that he went back there so he could keep an eye on things. I think he went back there to see if he could get the sheath. I also started thinking when they were saying maybe the door was wide open, well, maybe he went in and couldn't find it and left before anyone could see and never shut the door because he didn't want to wake anybody. So there's a good chance that he went back up there, but realized he wasn't even going to be able to grab it without leaving a footprint or something. And it was already, in the daytime, it was already light out. So he couldn't have escaped without having blood on him. That's why I think he went back there to find the sheath. I don't think he went back there to look at what he did. I think he went back there to clean up, but realized that he couldn't. There was nothing he could do because he would have blood all over him.
Idaho, for 47 days, police were tight-lipped about what happened inside this house, giving basically no information about a suspect or even a person of interest. But what we didn't know was that they had someone in their sights nearly the entire time. Bryankohberger, a criminology student in neighboring Pullman, Washington. And as we dig into what we know about him, some of the pieces to this puzzle start to come together even more.
Detectives arrested 28-year-old Brian Christopher.
All right, let me just say this. Lex, I agree with you, but here's the thing. Even if he saw the sheath, he wouldn't have been able to get it without stepping in blood and without leaving bloody footprints all the way out. He would have left footprints all the way out. He couldn't do it. There was no way he could get it without leaving a marks, and that's why he probably said fucking ran out the door. That's what I think.
Kohberger in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, on a warrant for murders of Ethan, Zana, Madison, and Kaylee.
Bryankohberger, a criminology student, now one of America's most notorious inmates. He grew up in Pennsylvania. He attended high school in the area near the Poconos Mountains. A former friend telling NewsNation's Chris Cuomo that Brian was bullied as a teen.
Honey Badger, but honestly, it would only be bad if knowing that he left it inside. It could have dropped on the way to the car. He was probably hoping that he dropped it outside the car or something and then he could grab it. Once he realized it wasn't there and that he must have left it in the house, there was no way of him going back in to get it because, he would have left bloody footprints everywhere.
Teenager.
He was always good to me. Now, over the years, that has changed. I know going into his senior year, he lost a lot of weight. It was then I hear that he might have become a bully.
She also claims Brian had a drug problem.
And you had experience with him using you to try to get drugs, right?
Yes, he did use me, and I didn't know at the time that he was using me to drive him to get heroin until probably a couple of days afterwards.
An old running partner says when he heard about the arrest, he was shocked.
I looked at the picture and I couldn't believe who it was. It was Bryankohberger. I would text him like, hey, you want to go for a run? We go for 6-7 mile runs at night.
Bryankohberger.
Kohberger got his bachelor's degree here at DeSales University back in 2020 and then a master's degree from their criminal justice program. A spokeswoman for the school says they are absolutely distraught by what is happening. Something really interesting. There is a world-renowned forensic psychology professor who works here who reportedly actually taught Kohberger.
Joining me tonight is Dr. Catherine Ramsland. She is the forensic psychologist.
Dr. Catherine Ramsland, professor, consultant, and most famous for her in-depth interviews with Dennis Rader, known as the BTK killer.
He asked me to solve a series of codes, and I was willing to pass the test.
Dr. Ramsland wrote his autobiography, and she talked about it on NewsNation last year with Marnie Hughes.
He obviously liked the attention and the publicity then, and perhaps he still does now. Why give him a voice and a platform to share his thoughts and experiences?
I did this project because I wanted to benefit law enforcement, criminal justice, and psychology, and we want to learn about the early red flags in the life of someone like this who doesn't have the typical serial killer background.
Dr. Ramsland tells us she's not making any comments about Kohberger or the case at this time.
My first reaction was just like my stomach churned.
But Dennis Rader's daughter telling NewsNation the revelation concerned her.
Do you think he may have had any sort of communication with your father?
Knowing how personally connected Ramsland is to my father, I would not be surprised if Kohberger had at least tried to write my father.
Kohberger also worked part-time as security at his old high school. After getting his master's, he moved to Pullman, becoming a PhD candidate and teaching assistant at Washington State University, just across the border from Idaho. He lived in an on-campus apartment. The affidavit for arrest claims Kohberger applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in 2022, saying in his essay he was interested in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. He also posted a survey on Reddit asking for volunteers for a research study where he was studying the criminal mind. He wanted to know about the emotional and psychological considerations for people who had been convicted of crimes, asking questions like, why did you choose that victim? What was the first move they made? How did you leave?
He had to make absolutely sure you understood that he was small.
A former classmate giving insight into Kohberger's demeanor right before winter break.
I did notice that he became a little chattier. He became a little more animated. Mostly what I noticed, though, is he was always showing up a little late, and he was always showing up with a cup of coffee in hand. He seemed like he was more exhausted.
Kohberger has not entered his plea yet. The father of victim Kaylee Gonzalez saying this about seeing the man accused of killing his daughter for the first time.
I expected him to be a bigger monster and more intimidating.
I mean, I'm like, this is the guy?
Sitting in the county jail, and according to the sheriff, they're trying to accommodate his vegan diet. The reporter who interviewed Kohberger's aunt telling NewsNation's Ashley Banfield about Kohberger's so-called food fetish.
She said it went beyond being vegan. He required his aunt and uncle to buy brand new pots and pans for him to eat out of because he refused to eat from anything that had meat ever cooked in it. And she said it seemed to be an OCD type of situation.
Kohberger's immediate family saying in a statement, "We will continue to let the legal process unfold, and as a family we will love and support our son and brother. We have fully cooperated with law enforcement agencies in an attempt to seek the truth and promote his presumption of innocence rather than judge unknown facts and make erroneous assumptions." For Kaylee's family, they say they now have a clear picture of what justice looks like.
Justice doesn't have a room where you can read books and you can go to school and you can have 3 meals. And
Honey Badger, my thoughts on that, he got in because of DoorDash. I think they never locked the door and that he followed the DoorDash guy right in. Hey, Candy, that's what I think. I've always said that. Now, as far as prison goes and his vegan meals, I know that Idaho doesn't have an insanity plea, but if he ever does confess, I do wonder if he's going to say that they were horrible to their bodies, they ate meat, like some kind of fucked up like rationale in his head. I wonder if that's going to come out.
you can have your vegan diet. To me, that's not justice. Justice is when you leave the planet and the whole world is able to rejoice and be glad that you are not there.
Okay, so there is still so much left to uncover about this investigation, the evidence and the motive. We are live tonight from Moscow, Idaho. Up next, the bombshell that one of the surviving roommates saw the killer. Coming up, a retired FBI agent with a theory on why he may have spared her life. Plus, the tool that could eliminate unsolved murders once and for all.
From what I was told, they can accommodate his meals until he's found guilty. Once he's found guilty, they're not accommodating. But while the presumption of innocence is still there, they will cater to his meals. That's what I was told. I don't know if that changes after the fact, but if he gets death, I don't think they're going to accommodate his meals. But I don't know. But I wonder if it was something like that. But as far as the DoorDash guy, according to his phone, he didn't plan on getting there till like 4 a.m. So I think the DoorDash was opportunity for him to crawl right in. And that's, I don't know, it's just a feeling I get that he followed they shut the DoorDash guy and he walked right in. Maybe they didn't lock the door or something, but I think he walked right in. Okay, no accommodating for convicted inmates. That's what I'm thinking. I know they'll do it prior, but I don't think after he gets convicted they give it, unless he's ever going to see the light of day again. You know, another thing people are talking about, though, people are talking about him wearing gloves at his house not to show fingerprints. I agree with that, but we don't know if he wore gloves naturally. Maybe he always wore latex gloves at home, because I can't imagine his parents not questioning him tenfold. You know, like, yeah, but there's no religious diet about vegan. Yeah, you don't get steak in prison. They do for religious, but I don't, if you're doing a death sentence, I don't know. I'll oftentimes say the food order has been delivered even if the driver does not hand you the food personally. Hey, here's a weird twist. Maybe he told the DoorDash driver, give it to me, and gave the DoorDash to them and walked right in. Or did something to the door or something. You know what I mean? I just thought of that. Maybe he pretended to be the DoorDash driver. Well, no, because the DoorDash driver said that he delivered it. I don't know. It was a thought I had for a minute. Yeah, that's true. He wouldn't do that and show his face. Well, if he was going to kill them, it doesn't matter if you show your face. You know what I mean? Said the same thing about taking food from the driver. Yeah, but didn't the driver say that he delivered it? I'm pretty sure the driver said he gave it to them. But I don't know. I just feel like the DoorDash driver's involved in that respect. Let me rephrase that. Not that the DoorDash driver's involved, but that he got in through the DoorDash or something. Janelle, that has nothing to do with it. I'm saying that he could have taken the food from the DoorDash guy and said, hey, I'll bring it in. You know, I live here or something. You know, something like that. But the DoorDash driver would have said that.
From Moscow. The arrest affidavit for this case revealed so much that we did not know. 18 pages worth. But that's only just a piece of this investigation, the minimum, as some experts we talked to say. Some of it will come out in a potential trial. Other parts will have to lean on some of our experts to basically fill in the gaps until we find out more. Joining me now is retired FBI Special Agent Bobby Chacon. Bobby, thank you so much for being with us. The first thing I want to ask you that has a lot of people puzzled is this surviving roommate who apparently saw the killer walk by. Do you think the killer saw her? And if so, why may he have spared her life?
Well, it's a great question, Brian, and I think he did see her, but looking at the affidavit with the phone records and where he was, I think he had a certain plan. There was a plan in place that he had for this house. So he was executing a plan as he thought it was going to go in his mind. Now, all of the times that people do this, things go wrong. He might have only planned on 2 victims and it turned out to be 4. I think that the rage that he had that was building in the days and weeks leading up to the murders, I think all came out, and I think the opposite side of that rage is an adrenaline crash. And I think that after the 4th victim, it's entirely possible he crashed. He was simply so exhausted, and then you get kind of tunnel vision. He was looking to get out of that house as quickly as he could, and the other 2 people downstairs were not part of his plan, and so he walked right by her to get out of the house. So I think it's entirely possible he was simply too exhausted, and it wasn't part of the plan that he had envisioned.
One of the creepiest things about this for me when I read over the affidavit was that he is accused of coming back to the house. That's what the cell phone records indicate, around 9:15 in the morning after the murders. Is it possible, I mean, do you think he may have been going back to go back inside? Do you think he realized that he left the knife sheath there?
You know, it could be, but I don't think so. I think this is sometimes classic criminal behavior where they revisit the scene of the crime. I think he might have gone back there to see if there were ambulances or police cars. He probably expected the police to be there already. And I think he went back to look for police or what kind of activity was taking part at the house. Sometimes the thrill, we've seen people stand behind police lines at fires. Arsonists do this a lot. And so I think that he was driving by to see basically the fruits of his actions. If there were, there should have been by that time a lot of police activity and ambulance activity. So I think that might be, it's impossible to tell. This is all speculation on my part, but I think it's quite possible that he was going back there to expect to see a lot of police activity.
Yeah, and like you said, we hear that people like this get a very weird, strange thrill from things like that. Let's talk about these traffic stops in Indiana. There were the 2 stops. Very suspicious. The FBI has come out and said that they didn't organize the stops. I mean, do you think it's possible that this was really just a coincidence that Kohberger and the dad got pulled over twice on the way back to Pennsylvania?
Well, I think it's possible now. I originally thought that it might have been orchestrated because it's an investigative technique that I myself used when I used to work the mafia in New York City. We used to have the NYPD radio cars, the uniform patrol, pull them over to ID who was in the car and things like that. So I think, I thought originally that at least the first one was orchestrated, probably not the second one, because you never want to do 2 of these too close together because the suspect can raise their suspicion that the police are onto them. So initially I thought the first one, particularly because it was a sheriff, and the sheriffs don't usually do traffic enforcement on the interstates. That's usually the state troopers, which the second stop was a state trooper. So I think when the FBI, they have no reason to lie that they didn't orchestrate it. This is a perfectly valid and legal investigative tool, and they wouldn't want to jeopardize the case by lying about it afterwards and things. So I think that, that if they didn't orchestrate it, now it could have been orchestrated by the Idaho State Police. That's something that people have said, and that's perfectly possible. But I think right now it might be just really a really weird coincidence.
Yeah, crazy coincidence. But you mentioned it. I mean, if it made him suspicious, there's the reports that once he got to Pennsylvania, he had the gloves on. He was moving the trash from his parents' house to the neighbor's house. So that all certainly came into play. I want to ask you about the knife, because I have heard, according to sources, that one possible defense strategy here could be trying to say that knife will not match up to the wounds. Do you think that could possibly come into play at a trial?
Well, it could, and the defense could certainly make that allegation. There will be very detailed testimony by the medical examiners and by people that are experts in wound patterns with this knife. Now, normally, depending on the stab wound, but sometimes you can actually match the knife up right to the wound. In this case, if the wounds are too graphic, if they're too gross, if they were too much together, you may not be able to get the exact knife fit in. So it all depends on the wound pattern. But I anticipate you will have the medical examiner or coroner give expert testimony for the prosecution.
All right, let me just throw in there. I have been pulled over by a sheriff in New York. Normally, they don't pull you over, but they can very well pull you over. If they're on the road, and no matter what road it's in, and they're driving and you do something wrong, they're not calling another cop. They're pulling you over. So it does happen.
Prosecution, the defense will probably have its own experts come in and make an allegation exactly the way you described. I don't know that will prevail, but it's something the defense, is certainly open to trying.
So they don't discuss motive at all in the probable cause affidavit, Bobby. Do you think they know a motive at this point and just aren't revealing it, or you think they're still looking?
I think they've got an idea of the motive, and they're looking for more evidence of that motive. Now, remember, to me as an investigator, motive was the least important thing I did. Because most murder statutes, you don't need to prove why somebody does it. My main thrust as an investigator was, who did this crime and how do I prove it? How do I help the prosecution get a conviction? The why of it, the who, what, when, where, and why, the why of it was always the least important for me, unless it led to other things in the investigation, unless it is to blunt a defense motion, a defense assertion that it was, self-defense or something like that. So I think that prosecutors always like a motive. They always like to tell the jury the story of why this happened, but the why certainly is not needed for a conviction. It's not required by a statute. Most murder statutes don't require the why, but I think they have an idea, but that's always the most nebulous part of a case like this, is the why of it, because quite frankly, there is no rational reason to do this. And when we find out the why, it will be very unsatisfying.
Interesting. I only have about 15 seconds left. Real quick, they say they don't have the murder weapon. They may have found it and just not told us yet. But can they use the cell phone records to go back, follow his drive, and look for the knife?
I mean, they could. They could. It's a very long search, but there's a lot of area to search. I don't know if they're already searching or not, but they don't need the knife for a conviction, but it would be very, very nice to have.
Okay. Interesting. Bobby Chacon, thank you so much for coming on tonight. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay, coming up next, the key evidence and why getting a conviction is not always a sure thing. We're going to talk about it. We are live tonight in Moscow, Idaho.
See, but looking at the flip side of the drive, if he was so worried, why didn't he have his father drive? Because then he would have looked, if he was that nervous, he would have been less likely to get pulled over if his dad drove. So why wasn't his dad driving? If he was so nervous, quote unquote. There's someone in chat that was in another chat earlier and was removed due to pushing another channel. Krista, who? What other channel? So he pulled a weapon. Sheath was left behind due to multiple... no, I don't think that. That's possible too, Sam. Or he cut it off accidentally. He could have cut it off. So that's why I wanted him to come with. See, you know what I was thinking though, Garden, after I said it? We don't know. Maybe his dad was driving the whole time and then he took over in Indiana and that's why they pulled him over. I realized that after I said it. Oh, that knife is anywhere between, even with cell phone records, I don't think they're going to find it. I mean, it could be anywhere. He could have chucked it out the window along the way. But then again, if the cops were following him, they would have seen it. But yeah, he could have stopped at a stop and flushed it down a toilet. You know, put it in the garbage in a bathroom at a stop. And if that's the case, that shit's long gone. It was a setup. He wasn't speeding. They planned it. I don't think he kept it. Not with the sheath being gone. I don't think he'd be dumb enough to keep it. Especially after killing 4 people. Haley was a channel, put down a content on the channel he was previously on. Yeah, I don't know who Haley is. But you know, honestly, I just thought of that. There's a good chance he went into a bathroom, put it in the garbage. Next day, that gas station gonna take out the garbage. Could be anywhere. No, not flushed down the toilet, but he could have put it in a garbage somewhere. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've done that with shit. Drug paraphernalia. Stop at a gas station, throw it in the garbage, never to be seen again. He did have a couple of days, but he may have held on to it for a little while and then got rid of it. Just handed some bum at the gas station. That's true too. But honestly, if he put it in a garbage at the bathroom on a stop from, you know, here to there, they're not going to find it. I mean, what are they going to do? Go through every single junkyard? It's impossible. He kept the car on the phone. Who knows? That's true too. But of course he's going to keep the car. They never found the knife to the area because, again, she was doing a cross-country trip. I don't know. If he was following the groups the way everybody's saying he was, he knew that they were kind of onto him. So, I don't know. I don't think he kept it. And if he did keep it, he got rid of it. He could have. I mean, anything is possible. Oh, see, I don't big ups. I don't think they have the knife.
Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna turn it up like slowly this time.
The most important element of this case is if it goes to trial is going to be DNA. We now know crime scene technicians expertly located evidence from the suspect at the scene. We asked NewsNation's Nancy Liu to look into the different ways DNA is used in crime fighting.
Brian, it's a technique called investigative genetic genealogy. It is relatively new, and it is solving cases at an incredible clip. DNA started cracking cases in the 80s. Tommy Lee Andrews, the nation's very first conviction. Going to prison for rape after Central Florida investigators used a lab paternity test advertised with a "wearing his daddy's jeans" slogan.
He's as despicable looking as I thought.
Fast forward to 2018. The Golden State Killer left behind DNA for decades, but the rapist and murderer, a police officer, had no DNA in the system. Then
That's another thing I want to say. Freaking, Chris Sue, I know who they are. Betty says today the BTK and the Green River Killer is the same person. I was like, what? And you're in true crime?
police turned to emerging genetic genealogy websites to connect to Joseph D'Angelo's relatives.
It's important to understand that we don't solve the case. We provide them the name of a person that most likely left the DNA.
Denver's former district attorney Mitch Morrissey co-founded United Data Connect after more than 3 decades as a prosecutor. He credits investigative genetic genealogy with an explosion of cold case arrests.
I've seen police officers bust tables in pizza restaurants and gotten saliva off of pizza and off of forks and that kind of thing.
That's how agents in Pennsylvania got a critical DNA match in the Moscow murders, scooping a piece of trash from the Kohberger family home in late December, sending it to the Idaho State Crime Lab. Technicians comparing that to a sample of a single source male's DNA left on the button snap of the knife sheath. Reporting. A match with Brian Kohberger's father, ostensibly using tried and true technology, the equivalent of the paternity test that convicted Tommy Lee Andrews.
We're working with second, third, fourth, fifth cousins and beyond.
Investigative genetic genealogist Cece Moore shows just how far the science has come, recently cracking the Honolulu murder of Nancy Anderson after 50 years. Well-preserved DNA got tested again more thoroughly, finding a retired deputy attorney general in Nevada. Similar to the Idaho case, police getting a DNA sample from his son before moving in to make the arrest.
That's you. That looks just like your mother.
Just last month, DNA helped a family reunite with Melissa Highsmith, who was abducted by a babysitter 51 years ago.
And I just started weeping and crying, and my daughters were crying, she's alive, she's alive.
Genealogists stress there are only 2 companies sharing DNA profiles with law enforcement, and all those people have opted in.
It's a big misconception out there that we're able to use Ancestry DNA and 23andMe. They have over 40 million people in them. If we could use those databases, these cases would take an hour.
Cases where DNA is significant, 90% of the victims are women. The 10% that are left, about 9.5 are kids. So this is a science that we then add genealogy to when DNA hasn't been able to give us an answer that solves crimes against women and children.
In 4 short years, this DNA technique cracking around 400 violent crimes, mostly cold cases, an urgent push now on to put new killers in its crosshairs.
There is no reason we need to have serial killers, Ted Bundy types, serial rapists, because we can identify them after the first violent crime now.
In this case, science already vetted in courtrooms across the country, helping to reel in the suspected killer of 4 college kids.
They were able to quickly identify him, get him into custody. These hopefully were his only victims.
The FBI now has its own investigative genealogy capabilities. Most state crime labs contract that work out to private companies. Brian?
The defense team is already hard at work trying to poke holes in the case. We're going to dive into that part of the story coming up next. We are live from Moscow, Idaho.
Brian, you got too many commercials going on. My God. Every 2 minutes is another commercial. Exactly, Alexis. And that's another thing that I want to bring up. And I know I've said it before, but a lot of people don't know this. Many drug dealers hide their drugs in the neighbor's yard. So I also wonder if that knife is closer than people think, and that knife might be in the neighbor's yard. The knife could be in the neighbor in Pennsylvania. It could be a neighbor in Idaho. It could be right in the backyard of their place. He could have dropped the knife off in the garbage. I mean, I doubt it, but once that goes to the yard, you never know.
They just hit me with a super chat. Who was that? You didn't have to do that. Use a big dog supporter and you prove that. There's plenty other ways to help. Subscribe, view, chat.
That was a subscriber. Since it doesn't come up for donations, doesn't matter if his phone was turned off or not. It's still sent. No, it doesn't actually. They don't have any data from him during the time of the crime, where they dig a tunnel to the neighbors. I'm telling you, I knew a drug dealer who would bury stuff in their neighbor's yard when we were young. He used to take like 1 kilo of cocaine and bury it in the neighbors. I was like, are you insane? He's like, well, I don't want it on my land. I said, dude, you're crazy. What if they find it? They're not going to find it. They got no dog. He would buy a piece of sod, he cut it out, and he buried like 1 kilo of cocaine in the neighbor's yard and put a patch of grass over it. Neighbors never knew. It's crazy. So I wonder if, you know, he did something like that. And God bless you, Buka. Phones go to sleep. No, they said his was off. They have no data from him during that time. Commercials are longer than the segment. I agree. He must have tried. Yeah, he was my drug dealer for a while. We were young, though. I mean, he wasn't young. I was young. When I say young, I mean like early 20s. No, they didn't have a dog. The neighbors didn't have a dog. But he said he did that in a lot of places. I knew him for a long time, though. But it's crazy. Few free weeks of couple. Wait, what? People who his drugs? Oh. Here's a story about folks who bought a home by Escobar. They did find bricks of cocaine under a shed in the yard. Yeah, but that's in his own yard. No drug dealer plants it in their own yard. But can you imagine if the neighbor got busted? How embarrassing. That'd be really embarrassing. I'd be like, it's not mine, I promise.
Let me see. I'll turn this up slowly for you guys.
Scene that seemed a Herculean task to process. It has now evolved to forensic investigations in 2 additional states, the processing of a car, and so much more happening behind the scenes. We asked NewsNation's Robert Sherman to look into all of the components of forensics and the judicial process that have to go right to actually win a conviction. It's such an important part of all of this. And Robert joins us now from the crime scene in Moscow tonight. Robert.
Good evening to you, Brian. And the goal for law enforcement at this point can be summed up in 2 words: investigation, perfection.
The 4 were stabbed with a knife, but no weapon has been located at this time.
From forensics in Idaho to pre-dawn capture in Pennsylvania.
It was on the door. Force was used for evening search warrants.
Police, prosecutors, and the courts working hard to bring their A game.
And you don't want the slightest thing to happen.
Retired FBI agent Kathy Geider isn't surprised to see top-notch investigative techniques like 3D imaging used in the processing of the King Road murder scene. And crime techs spending more than 12 hours at Bryan Kohberger's Pullman, Washington apartment, carting off a computer tower and more. Also a routine part of a well-executed law enforcement script.
Every location that comes up, now you have more evidence teams out there, whether it's digital evidence, communication being part of that, whether it's fingerprints, shoe prints, all the different technologies out there. Very, very time consuming.
The investigation, evidence processing, even search warrants and Miranda rights must be perfect or the defense can pounce.
The one thing that I'm not seeing in this arrest affidavit is a motive for this crime. Did Mr. Kohberger know these victims? If not, the defense is really going to be drilling in on that.
Federal criminal defense attorney Tama Cudman looked over the gag order now covering the case. It's an extensive one, she says, and necessary for both the defense and the prosecution.
To the extent that any information is being leaked into the jury, they may be tainted. And if you want to have a fair trial, we have to protect them from these kinds of leaks.
What might seem like missteps, like the beginning of hazardous material cleaning of the house that abruptly stopped.
But the sheeting has come down.
We'll get scrutiny for potentially damaging Kohberger's due process.
Could be for the defense counsel, could be that they just want to hold it for a little bit.
We call that
Alexis, it was a no warrant arrest, which means that they break down the door.
spoliation of the evidence in criminal defense lingo, and that is going to most certainly be an issue.
A new crime scene expert spent most of Tuesday in and out of the home. Hired by the defense, this forensic specialist is carrying 3D imaging technology, also used by detectives. He also specializes in crime scene reconstructions and blood pattern analysis, his career splitting nearly equal time testifying for and against criminal suspects.
Reporting.
How y'all doing today?
The 2 Indiana traffic stops of suspect Kohberger and his dad are of little surprise to retired Agent Geider.
You've got the people that are going to, look just at the linguistics of what did he say, why did he say it at that particular time. You are combing every part of that vehicle, seats, under the seats, the floor mats, every little piece is being evaluated for the potential evidence.
A former member of an FBI mobile surveillance team, she notes the deputies' talkative verification of who's behind the wheel, but it's the car and what it might hold that is just as intriguing.
I would caution everyone, most certainly we have enough information and evidence for probable cause to arrest, but that does not mean that we have enough evidence for proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
All right, I got a question though. All right, so I now live in Alabama. You shoot and then ask questions. If I heard my window being broken, whoever is there, I'm going to shoot. And then I'm going to find out who it is. So I guess in Pennsylvania, it's not like that because honestly, if I heard a window, I'm not looking first. I'm shooting first. And that's how all of Alabama is. So I don't really understand why they just broke the windows if they were afraid of possibly getting met by a gun. I never understood that, why they did it like that. Because it sounded like someone was breaking the house at 3 o'clock in the morning. Secondly, Scooby-Doo, what you said if he understood criminology, why do you say he would have thrown it in water? Although it's a great thought, why do you say he would have thrown it in water?
It has to be meticulous from this point on.
A swirl of DNA evidence, digital data, and investigative procedure that must be spot on so that justice can be served for 4 young lives.
This whole community and nation was desperate for speedy answers, and at times it seemed as though this case might never be solved. But we now know less than 2 weeks after those murders took place, Moscow police was asking other law enforcement agencies to be on the lookout for that white Hyundai Elantra. A cautious investigation yielding this arrest, Brian.
Thank you, Robert. We are staying centered on the victims and their families as we continue with this special live from Moscow, Idaho. Coming up next, how you can help honor the memories of Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, and Xana.
I was thinking I should.
Yeah, a broken window can cause a shooting. I guess it really depends on where you live. Because again, where I'm from, you shoot and then ask questions later. Someone breaks your window and like you know your kids are home, you're killing. This Universal Chemical Department is missing a few guys. That may be true too. I do like it. It's not good for single life, but the kids do great at school and they like it. We've been here like 6 years, 7 years. I think we're going on 7 years. We moved here when the twins were in 5th grade. But I'm all the way north. I'm by like the Tennessee border. Don't donate to channels who claim it's for victims of the 4. Ask where the money goes. Half these people don't know the family. That's true too, Angela. I think they're going to burn down the house, to be honest. That's true too, Lex. Yeah, I'm in Madison. I'm right outside of Huntsville. Well, you got beard. No, everyone's married or they're ugly. Dating life here sucks. Yeah, I'm in Madison. I've been doxxed so many times, doesn't even matter if I dox myself. Plus, if you order a candle, you know where I live anyway. I think they should burn it. I really do. Oh, no shit, movies? Yeah, Athens is like 20 minutes. Probably, Danny. Yeah, because the owner's not going to want to just lose everything. All right, Moofies. Born and raised north. Oh, no shit, Sam. Alabama's in the house. Roll Tide. Woo woo. Sure, they announced themselves before they rushed in. Then what's the point of rushing in if you're going to announce yourself? I have bergamot. Coriander I don't currently have. I can order it, but I don't currently have it. But bergamot I have. I have a few different bergamots. Whoop. I have a bergamot and sandalwood that's amazing. It's one of my favorites.
My buddy. Oh, here we go.
Since the murders here in Moscow, Idaho, since 4 families' lives changed forever. And this town, really a beautiful, quaint, quiet, normally safe college town, was thrust into the national spotlight. And even bryankohberger's family now in a situation that they likely never imagined they would be in. We will continue to follow the court process and every new detail we can confirm, not rumors or speculation, just only the facts. But throughout, we must all be mindful of the families. Xana, Ethan, Kaylee, and Maddie's parents, brothers, sisters, and friends. There are things you can do to help. Xana's family has set up a scholarship endowment at the University of Idaho. Ethan's fraternity, Sigma Chi, also has a memorial scholarship fund, and Kaylee and Maddie's family, as you heard, they are in the process of setting up a foundation to try and make some good out of this awful, awful tragedy. We will continue to be here. We will be in the courtroom Thursday covering this case for however long it takes for justice to play out. We thank you so much for watching this News Nation special report. Join us for a Twitter Spaces conversation on Twitter in a couple of moments. And for now, I am Brian Entin, live in Moscow, Idaho.
All right. Yeah, that's not me. That's titanium built. So let me tell you guys a really funny story real quick. Speaking of renting a house, because you guys know I'm scared of my own shadow. But you guys know I've been reading a lot of stuff, more tarots and witchcraft and a whole bunch of stuff I've been reading. Magic. So Dayton doesn't know. The kids don't know that I've been dabbling in all this stuff again. So Dayton turns around. He comes home yesterday or 2 days ago. He's like, Mom, Friday. He goes, Mom, I think the house is haunted. Why would you say that, Dayton? I go, why do you think the house is haunted? The house isn't haunted. He's like, I saw black birds outside trying to get in the house. I said, what do black birds have to do with anything? He's like, have you not seen The Conjuring? He's like, black birds. That's how you knew it was haunted. I was like, oh my God. I was dating, the house isn't haunted. I promise. I would know. But it was just really funny that he said something after I've been getting all this tarot stuff. It was hysterical. I was like, only you, Dayton. Only you. Law enforcement has to announce themselves first, but with the warrant, they don't have to wait. Yeah, but why break a window? That's what I don't get. What was the point of breaking the window? Hey, Yarn. Yeah, he's relating The Conjuring. I just thought it was funny. Glad you made it back safe, Yarn. Another person lives on the rents. Yeah, no. I don't know what happens with that, though. They broke 5 doors and windows? They say that when people pass, they say the birds are coming. Well, that's not good. Oh, I burn sage every day. I always have, though. My daughter's, like, obsessed with it. I just thought it was funny. Parents had to fight their city for thousands because the city caused a sewer backup that flooded their house. Ouch. So that's why I rent, so I don't have to worry about any of that. Drove across country. I keep driving till I can't, then switch a passenger. See, I'm usually the only one ever driving. Rent the house and do live stream. Yeah, big ups. I am literally scared of my own shadow. You will never see me do ghost hunting. I am too scared. I told my daughter we should go to the haunted, there's like a haunted, not a cemetery, a haunted playground in Huntsville. And I'm like, Sage, we should go. And she was like, no. She's like, it's boring anyway. I said, no, we'll go there at night when it's dark. She's like, you're crazy. I would be so scared. I'd be like petrified. I really would. I would be petrified. I'm telling you, I'm a chicken shit. I really, truly am a chicken shit. You can do this? No. I'm telling you, I get scared. But there's like this haunted playground in Huntsville that they swear it's like one of the scariest places in the area. And they say that swings go on their own and children are there. It's pretty scary. See, I would do a tour because that's easy. Tours are easy, but not on your own. I've been wanting to go to that, but yeah, they say it's haunted. My daughter and a bunch of her friends went, said they didn't see anything. Hey, Mama Bear. Isn't it disgusting what she did? I agree, Mama Bear. It's gross. Absolutely gross. I don't know why she would do something like that. I remember watching 13 Ghosts of Alabama. No, I didn't see that. I can't be... See, Amberly, I'm the exact same way. Yeah, I'll show you guys. Hold on. You would totally go there? Let's see. Haunted places in Huntsville. All right, Haunted Huntsville. 5 spooky places in the Rocket City. Lowry House. We were there. You didn't feel anything. When you're in a city as old, ghost spirits, other paranormal activity lurking in the city spots, ghost hunters and enthusiasts, paranormal often point to Huntsville as one of Alabama's spookiest cities. Here are some cities haunting. This is the Dead Children's Playground. It's in the middle of a cemetery, which is the largest and oldest cemetery in Alabama. That adds to the spookiness. Yeah, why would they have a playground in the middle of a cemetery? Like, that's what I want to know. Why? Just why? Like, who puts a playground in the middle of a cemetery? The story I've been told is a girl named Sally Carter was visiting her sister, Mary, at the house when she was struck with a fatal illness and died in 1837, just shy of her 16th birthday. I never heard that one. She was buried on the property, but as years went on, her grave had so many visitors that she and her family's tombs were relocated to Maple Hill Cemetery. However, the legend is Sally's casket was empty when it was moved, leaving many to believe a spirit still lurks in the house. Several reports, one from a security guard at Cedarhurst, have told of doors in the house opening and closing on their own, footsteps up and down the stairs at odd hours of the night. The home is not occupied, by the way, as it serves as a clubhouse for the Cedarhurst community. Woo! Then Lowry House. Civil War. Home is site of many sightings and noises in the house that could be spirits of desperate souls. According to renowned ghost hunter Leslie Ann, says a full-bodied apparition was seen in the kitchen. Other strange things have happened. As it is said, there are several bodies buried on the grounds on the property in unmarked graves. It's a popular haunt for paranormal investigators who believe otherworldly spirits live in its walls. Caretakers have experienced unexplained incidents, but they've all been positive, apparently. Thomas Bibb's grave. I've been there. Still isn't happy about his relocation. And on a full moon, a carriage drawn by white horses shows up to take him home. Been here. This place, let me tell you, I went here with my parents and the kids. This place is spooky. Like, we were on the second floor and somehow I lost them and I was walking around. It is creepy as can be. Like, creepy. See, the ghosts are mostly sighted on the second and third floors. I knew it because it's creepy. There are also reports of the specter of a train engineer still walking the platform, making sure the tracks are clear. It is. It's spooky. Like, I didn't know this when we were there, but I got lost on the second floor. It's weird. It's so old. That's it. Crazy. But I do. I want to check out that Dead Children's Playground. What? You guys are not going out now. What? Ugh. Come here. Come here. They're on the upper floors because they float. I'm telling you, I was on there. I was walking around, and I'm like, oh my God, like, this is weird. I'm like, where is everybody? I'm telling you, it was weird. My mom and Howard were in town, and they were trying to come up with things to do, and they were like, oh, let's go to the depot. Stupid me never even bothered to look. I'm telling you guys, I will take you there. It is creepy. So a pin they used to hang. It's creepy, creepy. And it's just so old. But I didn't see anything. But I felt creeped out. I felt like someone was watching me. Like, it was weird. But I never knew it had history like that. I'm telling you. Everything's from like the 1800s. It's crazy. Has the biggest government back war on drugs. Where'd that come from? If I were rich, I'd do it for you? Do what? Krista, that was an accident. Mods, be careful about who you time out accidentally. I'm sorry, Krista, that was a total accident. Will we learn any more this week? Probably not. Well, maybe the 12th. He goes to court on the 12th. We should learn a lot. Until I touch you talking weird. Yeah, right? Oh my God, I would freak out. Yeah, it was an accident. Because the mod that accidentally did it never times anyone out. So that's why I know for sure it was an accident. Did you get my DM back? Yes, I did. But you know what, though? The problem is, Stoned, anybody can... So far, all the experts that I've heard, I'm not impressed with. They're not saying anything that I'm not saying. They're not saying anything we haven't heard before. They're very textbook, and anyone can say whatever they want about why, why Dylan acted the way she did. But at the end of the day, we don't know. We don't know if she even acted like that. We have no idea. We don't know if the cops are telling the truth or if they were protecting her and hiding it, which the more I put together, I kind of tend to think that they were protecting her and hiding her. And that's why they haven't released anything. Is that true that YouTube, I mean, I curse. I've heard some big channels curse. There is a new expert born every day. Me, no. But you know what I'm saying, though? It's very textbook, and we just don't know the bottom line. Maybe she was high as a kite. Who knows? We know that we don't know exactly. I mean, we could speculate, we can guess, but again, I being that they won't release anything about the 911 call, being that they aren't saying anything about the 911 call, really makes me think that she did call. And that's it. And they were just protecting her. They don't know what the killer knew. Maybe Dylan was the target. Who knows? We have no idea. Yeah, everyone cussed. So that's what I'm saying. Cursey words and the ones that you aren't. Yes, but it's always been like that, Lead with Love. If you have a title that has a curse word in it, you'll get limited. They won't completely demonetize you, but they will limit it. Most of my videos are limited. Very, very few videos that I have are full monetization. Everything is limited. And they don't even want true crime, though. She saw the perp. Why would she close and lock the door? One, she got nervous. She may not have had a weapon. Yes, I did, Lynn. I had a few of them, actually. I had one with my grandfather. I had one with Brad recently. But I spoke to my grandfather when he died, and I didn't know he died until 2 months later when I got home from camp. And my parents denied him. And I said, no, I spoke to Grandpa. And they denied it. They said, no, he's fine. He's not dead. And then I found out he died the same night I had the dream. They can't lie in the affidavit. Yeah, but they never said the time frame. Did they give the time frame in the affidavit? I don't think they did. See, what I don't understand is why she didn't call the roommates. That would have been my first call. Is the roommates. And she was on the same floor as Anna. So it really doesn't make sense. That's what I said, Big Ups. I would have called 911 regardless. No matter what. Even if I thought it was their boyfriend, I would still call 911. Just better safe than sorry. It doesn't matter to me if they would get mad at me. Better safe than sorry. But I'm from New York, and that's how we did things. You call 911 if you're scared. You know, I always said if someone broke into my house, which kid's room would I run into first? I don't know. And no matter what choice I made, someone would say, well, why'd you do that room? Why'd you pick them? I don't know. All their rooms are right next to each other. Who would I pick? Who answered is write a post to recruit. Maybe. I just think he was exhausted by then. I mean, you stabbed 4 people to death in that short amount of time. He was probably exhausted. Or he was afraid the cops were called. I have overheard videos of that variety and thought someone was being killed. I did ask her to show me something. No one breaking in for them little I know, right, D-Life? Amen to that. See, Stone, I would go to the one furthest away. Dayton's room is the furthest. I probably go to him first and bring him into the others. Hindsight is 20/20. But I don't know. It's normal to me that you're going to call your roommates. If you're not going to call the police, you're at least going to call your roommates. That's funny, Moofy. I think one or more of the last victims put up a fight and exhausted him. It's possible. I think Ethan was the last. I don't know, D-Life. I don't know Idaho laws on guns. But I tell you, there's a special right now on either Hulu or Peacock, which I thought the timing was weird, but it was obviously produced way before this. But there's a new special on either Peacock or Hulu, Death in the Dorms, and it's a series about all these children or kids that were killed on college campuses. It's weird that they just put it out. I was listening to one today, and some girl at UCLA was murdered. It was random. Some guy saw her on a balcony and decided she was good to rob, and he stabbed her like 19 times. And the girl down from her heard noise, and what did she do? She called 911. I agree, D-Life. Hold on, my question. She's going to have to answer. I agree. Oh, defense is going to destroy her. The defense is going to literally destroy her. Well, that's the thing with what they were talking about today. They were talking about something vision snow or something on Reddit, that he had vision snow, which means that he probably didn't see her. I don't know. I looked at it real fast. Allegedly in the morning. Haley, allegedly, she called her friends. But again, the cops have lied to us pretty much on every detail, so it wouldn't surprise me if they're lying about that too. California, 91 girl got essay in the piano practice room by a guy who had essayed 4 of the students. Wow. I'm trying to think if it's Peacock or not. Vision Snow. Thank you. Annie, I have so trying to sit down all weekend to get your videos done. I promise you, I am getting there soon as I have time. And I appreciate it. I don't want you to think like, oh, I made you make them. No, I'm getting there. I promise. I just literally have not had the time. They will. And I feel like if Dylan was that close. Yeah, if Dylan could see that he had bushy eyebrows, she saw blood. Like, I don't know. I'm just not buying her story. I'm not. Now, I don't want to sound mean and horrible, but I'm not buying her story. And like, he's locked up. Why can't she speak? Visual snow is a form of visual hallucination that is characterized as a perception of small bilateral, simultaneous, diffuse, mobile, asynchronous dots, usually throughout the entire one. I don't even know what that means. I just wouldn't think he'd want an eyewitness left. He killed 4 people. He may not, the gun may have been too dead. Blurry at first, fine on laptop. If she heard a voice, probably not Ethan's. Yeah, we don't know though. See what I think too, D-Life, you know what I kind of think though? And nobody's really thought this, so maybe I'm wrong for it, but I also think that maybe it's possible, just possible, that he was leaving the roommates alive so she would look like the killer. Because think about it, when this case first broke, what did we all say? It was the surviving roommates. It had to be the roommates. And everyone thought it was the roommates. So that makes me think maybe, just maybe, he looked at it as, if I leave them alive, then they'll get the blame for it. If I leave them alive, then it'll be them and they won't even come looking for me. That's what I think. And I think that's a real possibility of why he left her alive, whether he saw her or not. He wanted someone to blame. And he figured, hey, if he kills her, then it's definitely not her. But if it is her, if I leave her alive, they're automatically going to look at her because she's the surviving roommate. So I think that's a real possibility. And I'm surprised that more people haven't discussed that. And I can't be the only one that thinks like that. Imagine if we went in through the knife at the ex-boyfriend's house. Well, that would be a good twisty life. But I don't know, logically speaking, it makes sense that someone in his state of mind, in his thought process, could very well be that he kept her alive in order to take the blame. Wonder if one of the... No, I think he said his dad did. Roundhouse Rat Girl, please go to sleep. Please go to bed. I've heard other big YouTubers with the same theories as Laura. Isn't that crazy though? They have big theories and people eat up. People eat it up. I say it and now people come in here. Make that make sense. It was the same date as the Amityville. That is true. But there's no connection to Amityville at all. Like, literally none. Yes, it was the same date, but I'll go one step further. Jerry said this the other day, and I got to agree with her. It happened on November 13th. He visited the house 12 times prior. On the 13th visit is when he killed them, on the 13th. Think about that for a second. And she was right. And for those of you that are new, I've actually been talking about the numbers thing before. I've been saying it from day one, that there's something to the numbers. Go to breaking news YouTube video, less than 5 minutes about Brian's marks on his neck. Breaking Houston? Let me guess, he's from Texas.
Hey,
Okay, here's the thing though. Brian wasn't arrested until 30 days, more than almost 2 months. Even if he had scratches on his neck from them, they wouldn't be there 2 months later. So I already know that this is nonsense.
everyone. I wanted to show you where I think I found some scratches on Brian Kohberger's neck and face.
Scratches wouldn't be there all this time later. So, yeah, I'll listen, I'll watch it, but yeah, not much.
That may be where the DNA had come from. It was from a photograph from yesterday during the extradition hearing. Photographers went over there with some better cameras than the original mugshot that we saw when he first got arrested. From here, it was pretty pixelated and it was a front profile photo. But this photograph told me quite a bit as well. I was looking for injuries that he may have sustained during the event, and he should have gotten hurt. I mean, there was 4 people. It was violent. I didn't see anything too heavy here, any discoloration I was looking for, aside from a small marking on the neck that it turned out to be what I thought later at the time here. And then also I was looking for discoloration on the face or hair or ears, and I came across...
Now, let me just say this, though. If Brian was scratched up, someone in his school would have noticed. If he came in, looked like he just had a fight, school would have noticed. Schoolmates would have noticed. It wouldn't be where he would have it 2 months later. It just doesn't make sense. Nobody has a scratch that long. I mean, I've gotten bruises that are gone within 2 months. I mean, like big bruises that are gone within 2 months.
This on his right temple, which would be this change in color that you're looking at right now.
All right, I can't do this video. This video is too dumb. I can't do it. Give me something better. This video is too dumb for me. What else you got? If he was arrested a couple of days after, this might mean something, but looking at color changes and yeah, no. That's true. Not all creeps murder people. I agree with you. I don't think he looks like a creep. I really don't. Lex, it's not my thing. Someone pointing out this stuff 2 months later, it's just not my thing. All right. Let me show. Hold on. No, Crystal, I just saw your message. It's fine. I don't have a problem with it at all.
This is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the probable cause affidavit in the case of Brian Christopher Kohberger? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you find this video enlightening, please like it and subscribe to my channel. In addition, consider supporting me on Patreon, looking at a few of my recent pre-release.
Oh, this guy puts me to sleep. Lex, scratches would not last 2 months. And if he was that scratched up, schoolmates would have noticed. Anybody can get scratches over anything, but you wouldn't have scratches 7-8 weeks later. You just wouldn't. Scratches just don't last that long.
These videos on Patreon, we see inscrutable thumbnails like drowning in. In addition, there are over 150 other videos of the Idaho quadruple home at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. 2 other female residents of the house were not attacked or injured. After investigating for several weeks, the police came to believe that a man named Brian Christopher Kohberger was responsible. During the early morning hours of December 30, 2022, he was arrested at his family's home in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. Brian was extradited to Idaho. He has been charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder, as well as felony burglary. The police believe that Brian acted alone. At the time making this video, Brian enjoys the presumption of innocence, as he remains incarcerated in Idaho. The police really couldn't say much about the case. Therefore, there was a lot of mystery surrounding what evidence they had or didn't have against Brian. Some of that mystery was alleviated on January 5, 2023, when the probable cause affidavit was released. Now moving to a summary of the probable cause affidavit. The document starts by describing how the police responded to the King Road rental house where the murders took place. They discovered the bodies of the 4 victims. 20-year-old Xana Kernodle and 20-year-old Ethan Chapin were found on the 2nd floor. 21-year-old Kaylee Gonsalves and 21-year-old looked like it was designed for a K-bar knife, like the that DM stands for Dylan Mortensen and BF stands for Bethany Funk. Investigators were able to reconstruct some of the timeline. On the evening of
All right, this guy is just reading the affidavit. Every single creator has redone the affidavit 36 times. They just put their own spin on it, but that's all they're doing. So just tell me what part I'm supposed to go to, Stone, because I can't listen to this guy. And I've heard this story 10,000 times. And I've repeated the story 10,000 times. But I will look. I'll try to find it.
November 12th, 6 of them returned to the house at about 4 a.m. by what sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog in a 3rd-floor bedroom. Not long after this, social media platform at 4:12 a.m. and had received a DoorDash delivery at about 4 a.m. In response to hearing the sound to help you. A security camera was mounted to another residence less than 50 thud. Also, there was a dog barking. Dylan heard crying again and opened her door for a 3rd time. She saw a male that she did not recognize walking toward her. He was wearing black clothing and a mask. The man had bushy eyebrows. Dylan was frozen in shock. The man exited out of the sliding glass door. Dylan locked herself in her bedroom. Just outside Dylan's door, the police found a latent shoe print which had a diamond-shaped pattern. This corroborated Dylan's story. The police searched the area surrounding the house looking for additional video. They identified a white Hyundai Elantra, which had been in the area. It did not have a front license plate. The vehicle passed the King Road rental house 3 times before the murders. At 4:04 a.m., the vehicle was captured entering the area for a 4th time. It was seen in front of the King Road residence. The driver completed a 3-point turn and drove east. At 4:20 a.m., the vehicle was captured driving quickly out of the area and was on a road that leads to Pullman, Washington. The police believe that the man Dylan saw was the killer, and the murders took place between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. Believing the killer's vehicle drove toward Pullman, the police were 3 a.m. The vehicle returned to Pullman at about 5:25 a.m. A Washington State University police officer, Bryan-Kohberger, he lived in an apartment in Pullman, require a front license plate. The police looked at the photograph for Brian's driver's license and noticed that he had bushy eyebrows and generally matched the description that Dylan provided. On November 18, 2022, 5 days after the murders in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, Brian's phone left his apartment. This movement was consistent with the movement of the white Hyundai Elantra captured on video surveillance. Cell phone data also revealed something else.
I'm curious if he's using a teleprompter or if somebody's holding something to read.
On at least 12 occasions from June 2022 through the day of the murders, the phone had been in the area of the King Road house. All of the visits, except for one, were in the late evening or early morning. The cell phone returned to the area of the house at about 9. Brian's DNA matched the DNA on the knife sheath found at the crime scene. Inculpatory factors. Brian's DNA was found on a knife sheath next to one of the murder victims. The injuries that the victim sustained are consistent with a knife that would fit in that sheath. The knife was never found. Brian's vehicle was seen entering the area of the King Road house right before the murders and was seen speeding away right after. Brian changed the registration of his vehicle 5 days after the murders. Brian's cell phone was in the area of the King Road house several times in the months leading up to the murders. It was mostly there during hours consistent with stalking behavior. On the night of the murders, his phone stopped reporting to the network not long before the crime and resumed reporting not long before his arrest when the FBI had gloves. On one occasion, he dumped the trash in a neighbor's garbage can, or Brian could have simply had this feature. Somebody could have taken Brian's phone and his car, or perhaps Brian was only the driver, like his passenger committed the murders without Brian's knowledge. It appears as though Brian was stalking someone at the King Road house. Do I think that Bryan-Kohberger is guilty? Yes, I believe he is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. As I mentioned, he has the presumption of innocence.
See, this is where he lost me. Right here is where he lost me. You are a professional with a degree, and you already have him convicted beyond a reasonable doubt when you don't even have the evidence yet. He just completely lost me. No respect at all for any professional that can say beyond a reasonable doubt when they haven't even given us one fucking iota of evidence. Sorry, no respect at all.
The jury will have to decide his fate. Moving to the next section, here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. There is this theory that Brian was planning the perfect murder. This is supported by him being a PhD criminology student who was described as exceptionally intelligent. I think the probable cause affidavit removes any doubt about this theory. If Brian is the killer, his motive was based on obsession, revenge, and/or sexual domination, not because he was trying to plan the perfect murder. One amazing aspect of this case is that Brian was seemingly so functional, yet capable of allegedly committing a crime like this. He stood out as socially awkward. Item number 2, if Brian is guilty, directly to the crime. It wasn't like it was on something innocuous, where there may have been a non-homicidal explanation for how it could have ended up there, like some type of consumer good that he touched in a store and then one of the residents bought it and brought it back in the house. It was on something that the killer would have touched. He used his own vehicle to drive to. Why did she lock herself in her bedroom but not call the police? There are several possibilities here. Perhaps there were substances in the area and she did not want to draw the attention of law enforcement. Maybe she had recently used substances and was impaired. She could have wanted to call the police, but her phone was not in the bedroom with her. Maybe Dylan didn't believe that the person she saw was a killer, or that they did anything bad at all. This one doesn't seem to fit with her locking the door, but it is still possible. And the last possibility is that she had an acute stress response and froze. Let's examine this last possibility more closely. When a person encounters a life-threatening situation, they often have a reaction that's referred to as the acute stress response, or the freeze, fight, or flight response. The order of freeze, fight, or flight is different depending on the conceptualization. Some researchers say fight, flight, or freeze. Others just have fight or flight. There are a lot of variations. 1, 2, or all 3 of these reactions can occur as part of any given response. Some people may only fight. Some may only freeze. Others may exhibit flight, but will fight when they are cornered. It all depends on the person and the circumstances. The freeze behavior is referred to as tonic immobility or non-volitional freeze response. The idea behind it is that if an organism freezes, an attacker may lose interest. This is helpful for animals, but not very good for humans. Also, with some animals, the vision of predators is highly dependent on movement, so freezing can make an organism hard to see. Again, this is not really helpful in most confrontations involving humans. If one human is attacking another and the victim freezes, the human who is attacking is not going to look around and say, "Where'd they go?" Human vision is not dependent on movement like we see with many animals. The acute stress response theory is interesting, but even if Dylan had a freeze response, it's very unlikely it would have lasted more than a few minutes. It does not adequately explain waiting for hours. There is no such thing as a deep freeze response. Item number 4. If Bryan was the killer, why did he leave Dylan alive? There are a few possibilities. 1. Bryan had tunnel vision and didn't even see her standing there. I think this is unlikely, but technically possible. 2. Bryan had killed the person he intended to kill. His mission was complete. 3. Bryan was physically exhausted. He simply didn't have the energy to commit any more homicides that night. 4. Bryan figured that Dylan had already called the police because any reasonable person would have called the police under those circumstances. With the police already on the way, killing another person would have taken more time that Bryan did not have. This is supported by the fact that he sped away from the scene instead of just driving away at a normal speed. He risked attracting attention when, in reality, he didn't need to. Now moving to my final thoughts. The victims in this case had no idea there was a...
Okay, I feel brain dead. I've learned nothing. He repeated everything that we all said. I've said the exact same things that he just said. I'm sorry. I got nothing. Sorry, Stone. This guy is useless. Sorry. Not sorry. I'm not checking out anyone else. It's almost 4 in the morning. It's 3:30 in the morning. So far, nobody has shown me anything that I haven't said. So, yeah. Sorry. Olivia does not know. Nobody knows. That goes along with tonight's headline. They just make up shit for views. I can't believe Betty did that. I'm still stuck on it. It's not drawn. It's on a thing. I know it looks like it's drawn, but it's not. But Dylan, a type of flight freezer. Yeah, but at the end of the day, Stoned, he said that nobody freezes for more than a couple of minutes. So the rest of it's pointless. We all know she may have froze, but she didn't. You don't freeze for an hour or 8 hours. You freeze for a minute and then, you calm down. But, everybody has her on drugs. Did anyone ever say that she was using drugs? I don't think I've ever seen anywhere that Dylan uses drugs. I don't know why everyone's got her on drugs. Cops have been called to that place 1,000,000 times. Good morning, Liz. Nobody has ever been afraid of drugs. Oh, none of them have credibility. And Betty should have lost all the credibility tonight, period. Lex, aren't you a mod for Betty or no? Or you're a mod for Dolly or someone? Seen the Google trending searches before the murder? Yes. Dolly said maybe she had grams of coke under her bed. What? See, that's what I'm saying, though. Dylan is not a drug addict. There's no proof Dylan ever did drugs. That's why I don't know where it came from. Oh, the leaked audio, Lala, is a total fraud. Betty, it's total fake. BK sister went into crime scene house on Dolly. Yeah, she never went into crime scene. There's no proof of that. More lies. Because they don't have anything, Lex. That's why. It's not a point of holding it. They never had it. It's all hype. So you sub up to them. Oh, it came from Dolly saying that he started the rumor. Nice. Brian looks like, yeah, but I'm talking about them. Hidden True Crime, didn't they also out it from what I saw? I think that's the name that I saw. How do we know? You have to rewind the video. It's all, I show proof and everything. It's all there. Exactly, for us. They have nothing. There's no way they would even know something like that. You know what I'm saying? Lex, I'll do it tomorrow. It's almost 4 in the morning. I'm going to bed. Yes, BHB was the first one to play the video. She's the one that found this leaked audio. Anything for the money, exactly. Good night, Moofies. Yeah, it's 3:30 a.m. And unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. She's not even crime, Rhonda. She doesn't even know what crime is. She said BTK and Green River were the same person. They're not neighbors. I don't even know where that rumor started. I agree, yeah. He hung out with Betty too much. That's what happened. Girls were always the best dealers? I don't know about that. How long does it take to calm your mind when you lay down? 5 seconds. I play my little game, and then I'm out. You're welcome, Sam. It's like calling the sister horror queen. It's so wrong. Yeah, that's another thing. Everyone made such a big deal about, is she really, Yarn? Is she covering her butt? Is she trying to cover her ass? Why is she live on both channels? And you, of all people, why are you promoting her? But that's another thing. Everyone talks about the sister being in a horror game. Who cares? That is not the neighbor sound audio, Lala. That audio was fake. That was from a domestic violence situation posted on TikTok on 12/30. There's no leaked audio. You too, Keister. You swipe through Tinder? I've never even been on Tinder, ever. The attorney was at the scene, not his sister. Correct. That's true, Crosshatch. You got that right. She's a drama channel. She thinks she's a reporter. She's a joke. Ah, thanks, Yarn. Yeah, they did hang out with the family, allegedly, which is sad that they would do something like this. And that's another thing. All these people, like Truth and Transparency, running with all these videos, like, have respect for the parents. It's like Pokemon for STDs. I like that. I agree, Rhonda. Cancel Betty. It's time. All right, I got to go to bed, though. I'm tired. I agree, Soma. I will see you guys tomorrow. Banfield, you guys know we run Banfield at night. But yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. I got to get to bed. I love you guys. Welcome new subscribers. To the one that accidentally got timed out, I'm so sorry, Krista. It really was an accident. I haven't seen you since. I hope you come back because I know you said it was your first time here. So, I'm a victim shamer? Okay. Okay, Hal. Hal, why'd you even bother changing your name? Here's a little hint. If you're going to change your name and you're going to troll people, change the lettering because Hal had the same A as the Love Boat. So you might want to try to change your lettering so you don't give yourself away that easily, because that was too easy. You made that way too easy, Love Boat. So, all right, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful night, and peace out, Bean Sprouts. Hit that thumbs up on your way out.